Dear students, very good morning to you all. In today's class I teach you the fourth lab experiment. That means you are going to write one more Java program to find the distance between 2 points on a graph. Here you can see the graph over here, and on this graph you can see some points are here, like point 1 is here, point 2 is here, point 1 is at 1, 2, point 2 is at 3, 4, and origin is here, as we know all. And now we need to find the distance between these 2 points, point 1 and point 2, as well as we need to find the distance between origin to point 2. That is what the experiment you need to do. That means to find the distance between these 2 points as well as the distance between origin and point 2, you need to write the Java program. You can write this program so easily, but some conditions are here. While writing this program, you are learning many concepts from the Java, because in the aim they mentioned like that. Here you can see the aim given by the VTU. They have given these many conditions for us. You can see over here how many conditions are here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 conditions are there. We need to satisfy all these conditions. Satisfy means what? You need to implement all these things while writing this Java program. Here you can see at the end the aim is like this: develop the Java code for the class myPoint. Also develop a Java program called test myPoint to test all the methods defined in the class. And actually while doing this experiment you are learning many things here. First and foremost thing what you are going to learn by this experiment is that you are going to write 2 Java programs here. One is myPoint.java. One more is test myPoint.java. Actually the main method is present in test myPoint.java. You can see over here what is the name of this file, test myPoint.java. Here you can see the main method. In the main method I defined 2 objects, point 1 and point 2, of the type myPoint. Where is this class? This class is present in myPoint.java. In the myPoint.java, one class is there as myPoint. That means I am defining one object of the type myPoint in test myPoint. This is one more concept you are learning while doing this experiment. And the main method is present in test myPoint, not within myPoint. So whenever you run this program, what happens here? Just right mouse button, then I go for the run file, and you can see the output over here. Point 1 coordinates after setting x and y. It is showing the coordinates of point 1. We have set it in the program. What are the coordinates of point 1? 1, 2. And we are getting the coordinates of point 2 also, 3, 4. And we are getting the distance from point 1 to point 2. That means we are getting the distance from 1, 2 to 3, 4, as you have seen in the graph. We are getting the distance between 1, 2 and 3, 4. What is the distance? So and so. And we are getting the distance from point 2 to origin. That means we are getting the distance from point 2 to the origin. We are getting 2 distances here. One is that distance between point 1 and point 2. One more is that the distance between origin and the point 2. Then we know that how to find the distance. We are going to apply the Euclidean distance formula, as you know all. Here you can see on the graph 2 points are here, point 1 and point 2. Point 1 is at x1 y1, point 2 is at x2 y2. How do you find the distance? Square root of x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square. Then we are going to get the distance between these 2 points. We are going to apply this formula in this program. Then in this program you are going to learn many theory concepts. You can see over here, I will show you. Here you can see I read out all the conditions given by the VTU in the syllabus copy. You need to create one class called myPoint, and you need to create the one model that represents the 2D point on xy coordinates with xy coordinates on xy plane. You need to create one class which models a 2D point with x and y coordinates is designed as follows. You are working with two instance variables here. One is x and one more is y. Both needs to be of the type integer. And you are implementing default constructors. As you know, all default constructors will not take any inputs, no arguments. We are not passing any inputs to the constructor. That helps us to construct a point at the default location of 0 0. This one you are implementing. And you are implementing overloaded constructor. That means you are passing x and y values to this constructor. And you are writing one method called setXy. It will set the x value and y value, that is x coordinate and y coordinate. How are you going to get it? We have to write one more method called getXy, which returns x and y. Interesting thing here is that it returns two values, x and y. How is it going to return two values? So it returns one array. Can you guess that array will be of the size how much? That array will be of the size 2 only, because that array will be having two values. One is x and one more is y. That means 2 element array. That is 2 element array. So in the aim they have given, you need to write one method named getXy that returns two values. How that method is going to return two values? It returns one dimensional array of the size 2. That means in array of 0 x will be there, in array of 1 y will be there. That is what you have to learn how to write it. New thing for you. How to set we know. We pass x and y and we set overloaded constructor. If you want pass origin, that is no arguments, we are going to set 0 0. And one more interesting method you are writing here. One more method you write like toString method. What it does, it returns a value in this format. That means it concatenates x and y value with opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis and comma. Then entire thing will be returned. Oh, interesting. Then how to write a method in Java that returns a string after the concatenation. That is what you are going to learn by writing the program. And you are going to write one more method. See here, distance, distance, distance. Your method overloading. You are going to learn method overloading here. Same method does different tasks as per the given inputs. If you pass integer, sometimes we pass to integer values, sometimes we pass object of the type myPoint, sometimes we are not going to pass any inputs. This is a method that reads to integer values, primitive type. This is a method that returns that is going to read the object type input. This is a method no arguments. Oh, interesting. Oh, these many conditions are given by VTU. Yes, thank you, because we have to learn all these theory concepts as well as we have to learn how to implement these things. This knowledge helps you to crack the technical round also, or as well as you can answer many questions asked by the interviewer during your placements, right? Let us start. First and foremost thing, just only I told you that you're going to write two Java programs. One file name will be mypoint.java and one more file name will be test mypoint.java. See the contents of mypoint.java. Okay, before discussing this, better see the contents of test mypoint.java. It is wherein the main method is there. Here you can see the public class test mypoint started here and it has been completed here, and main method is present here, and line of codes are very less and easy to remember. We are defining 2 points, point 1 and point 2, and we are not passing any inputs here. That means constructor works here. 0, 0 will be assigned to it, and point 2, 3, 4 will be assigned. How these are going to initialize shortly we'll learn, no need to worry. Then we find then we are accessing the method setXy to point 1. In reality point 1 was initialized by 0, 0. And then you can ask me question, sir, how 0, 0 I'm going to store here? Whenever this object defines constructor works from the myPoint. Here you can see what is the class name, myPoint. What is the method name, myPoint. What is the method name, myPoint. These two are constructors. This is a constructor with no arguments, this is a constructor with arguments. If you pass the values, this method works. If you won't pass, this works. Here you can see in the main method, here we are not passing, here we are passing. For point 1 we are not passing, for point 2 we are passing. That means for point 1 you are not passing means point 1 will be 0, 0. You are passing the values for point 2 means coordinates for the point 2 will be 3, 4, because we are passing the inputs like 3, 4. Now can you tell me what are the coordinates of point 1? 0, 0. What are the points of point 2? 3, 4. Because whenever this object defines, first constructor works, default constructor. Whenever the machine executes the second one, constructor with arguments works. Yes, we have understood. Next, what happens, see over here, testing the values for x and y, and we are getting it back. Point 1, actually point 1 coordinates were 0, 0. Now I will set the values for those things. Instead of 0, 0, 1, 2. So what I did, I passed 1 and 2 to the set xy. Set xy is the method in that class, isn't it? And I am calling it directly via this object, no problem. Where is the set xy? Here you can see in this first file is having 2 data members, x and y, instance variables. These are private. Private means these are accessed by the methods inside this class, and this dot x means it points to this dot y. Similarly, this dot x and this dot y. This is what the method set xy. We passed inputs like 1, 1, 2, isn't it? Then 1 will be transmitted to x, 2 will be transmitted to y. Then x and y will be replaced from 0, 0, 0 to 1, 2 for the point 1. Yes, no problem at all. Like this, it will change the values inside x and y for the point 1. Now point 1 is having 1, 2, point 2 is having 3, 4. Now I would like to print the coordinates of point 1 and point 2. Then for printing, interesting thing here is that I am calling the method called getXy. I am calling the method called getXy. GetXy only returns x value, getXy only returns the y value. Here interesting thing, you need to understand how we need to write the getXy. That is important. Here you can see, where is the getXy? Here. What is the name of it? GetXy, isn't it? Okay. Any inputs? No inputs. Okay. Any output? Yes. One dimensional array. Output is of the type 1D array. That's why pair of square brackets. Then x and y. Already x and y are present, isn't it? For point 1 and point 2. 1, 2. Those 1, 2 will be stored in an array whenever it returns. Array of 0 means x value. Array of 1 means what? Y value. That means this getXy returns both the values by initializing in 1D array, and that 1D will be returned. So how are you going to access here? GetXy of 0, GetXy of 1. GetXy of 1 means we are getting the value at second array element, value in the first array element. It is the important thing you need to understand here. How to return multiple values from method via arrays. This is how we need to return. That means we get the point 1 coordinates after setting. We are getting the values back. So in output we got point 1 coordinate after set x and y. We got this output because of the execution of this line. Next interesting thing, I would like to get the coordinates of point 2, but after the concatenation, testing to string method. Point 2 coordinates. Oh, interesting. I am calling which method? To string. It concatenates x and y with the opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis, and comma, and it returns. How this method has been written by us? See here. What is the name of method? String. What is the name of method? ToString. Any inputs? No input. Any output? Yes. It returns of the type string. Yes, it is public. See here. X value is here. X value is here. And y value is here. Yes, no, no, very good. And this one we concatenate with the comma, and this one we concatenate with the closing parenthesis, and this one we concatenate with the opening parenthesis. What this method is doing here, this method concatenates this literal constant with x value, both together with comma, all together with y, all together with closing parenthesis. Here entire string will be returned. That is what we get here. Where are we going to get? Here we get where? 0.2 coordinates. That's why in the output we got 0.2 coordinates 3, 4. Next is very interesting. Distance from point 1 to point 2. Now point 1 is having 1, 2, right? Isn't it? Point 1 is having 1, 2. Point 2 is having 3, 4. You have to calculate the distance from 1, 2 to 3, 4. So I am calling the distance here, but we are passing the object here. Interesting thing. Point 2 is the object. Here you can see how many methods are there with the name distance. See here, distance, this is one method, and distance, this is another method, distance, this is third method. In distance only again distance has been called. Interesting, recursion. Yes, oh my god, 3 times, and one more inner. Oh, within these 3 which one works? Within these 3 this works. Why do you know? Because we are passing object here. This is the object of the type my point. That means here we passed which object we passed? Point 2. Point 2 is having 3, 4. 3, 4 will be means it is the reference to the same one, isn't it? Reference. It points to the point 2 only. Means point 2 means 3, 4. Another dot x means 3. Another dot y means 4. Interesting thing. Not only here distance has been called, here also distance has been called. Oh, interesting. Oh, that means we passed the object, and this method will access the values from that object and calls the distance. Now this method is calling this distance method. That means 3 and 4 are passed here. Here 3 and 4 comes. And this dot x minus x. This dot x means origin. Origin means, or not origin, 0.1 coordinates. That is 1. X2 minus, this is what? This dot x. This dot x, x2 minus x1. Isn't it? What is the formula? What is the formula? X2 minus x1. Here point 2 we are passing, isn't it? That means x, isn't it? And this dot x means x2 minus x. This dot y means y2. y2 minus y1. X and y points to point 1. This dot x and this dot y points to x2, y2. We get the distance difference of x2 minus x1, y2 minus y1. x2 minus x1 has been stored in x difference, y2 minus y1 has been stored in y difference. You have to find the square root of both, isn't it? So square of both, square root of, and summation of that, it returns. That means this value will be returned, that one will be printed here. Distance from point 1 to point 2. That means we got the result. Next thing is that find the distance from point 2 to origin. Point 2 means 3, 4 to 0, 0. Then which constructor works here? Interesting. Point 2 dot distance. We are not passing anything. We are not passing anything from point 2. We are not passing anything means which one works? This works. What this returns? It returns distance of 0, 0. Why? Why it is returning 0, 0? Because we have to find the distance from point 2 to origin, no? So again we are calling distance with x as 0, y as 0. That means again this method works, right? And 0 comes here, 0 comes here, and this dot x means 3, this x is 0, this dot y means 4, this y is 0, x2 minus x1, y2 minus y1. This time point 2 to origin. Similarly, we find the square root of square of both and sum of both. Like this we get the distance from point 2 to the origin. So we are getting the distance from point 2 to origin. This is what all about the fourth experiment. I think you understood. This program is easy, as well as many concepts you have to learn. Not you have to learn, you learned it, isn't it? Just I will highlight. You have to write two Java programs, myPoint.java with myPoint, and how many methods here? One is myPoint. It helps us to assign 0 0 0 0. Okay, confusion will be started for you. No issue at all. I hope you understood. Once again, I run the program for you, and I will show you the output. Just right mouse button and run file. You can see the output. We got the result. And important thing is that I saved both the files in the project named experiment 4. One project I created as experiment 4 here. In that one only you can see the two source files are here. Which are those? One is myPoint.java, one more is testmyPoint.java. So create one project. In that project create two files. One is testmyPoint.java, wherein main method is there. One more is myPoint.java. Then run the program. You want to get the output. I hope you might have understood. Please practice the same. Thank you. Have a nice day.